From JBS Studios in Greater New York, this is the JBS News Update with Teisha Bader.
I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Thursday, July the 8th, 2021. Israel's Foreign Minister and alternate Prime Minister Yair Lapid met with his Jordanian counterpart in Amman, Jordan today to discuss the transfer of more water from Israel to Jordan. Lapid tweeted he met with Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister Ayman Spadi, and that at the meeting, we agreed, he said, on cooperation on trade and water issues. Later adding details of that water agreement, which has Israel selling up to 50 million cubic meters to Jordan, apparently doubling the regular supply in the current water year. Lapid wrote, "The Kingdom of Jordan is a neighbor and important partner of the State of Israel. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs will continue to hold an ongoing dialogue in order to preserve and strengthen relations. We will expand economic cooperation for the benefit of the two countries." By the way, the Times of Israel reported today, citing a report from Walla, that Israeli Prime Minister Naftali Bennett secretly met with the King of Jordan, King Abdullah II, in Amman last week, citing apparently an ex-official saying that the two agreed to open a new page in Israel-Jordan relations. If the report is true, this would be the first meeting between an Israeli premier and the King of Jordan in 5 years. There has been no confirmation of this report at this time. The Prime Minister's office responded to criticism from the United States about Israel's decision to demolish the home today of a Palestinian terrorist. The terrorist, who also has U.S. citizenship, is suspected of murdering 19-year-old Israeli student Yehuda Guetta this past May. A U.S. Embassy spokesperson issued a rare criticism to Israel, saying that the home of an entire family should not be demolished for the actions of one individual. Demolition of the homes of terrorists is used by Israel as a deterrent to commit acts of terror. The Times of Israel cited an unnamed official in the Prime Minister's office saying that the Prime Minister appreciates and respects the American administration, adding at the same time he acts solely in accordance with the security considerations of the State of Israel and the protection of Israeli citizens' lives. The United Nations General Assembly passed the Global Counterterrorism Strategy Resolution, which is reviewed by the Assembly every 2 years, but this year had additional language added to it, showing a link between terrorism and hateful ideologies or bigotries that motivate it, like antisemitism, stating that terror groups are informed by racism, neo-Nazism, anti-Semitism, Islamophobia, or anti-Muslim intolerance, racial supremacism, ultranationalism, xenophobia, intolerance related to sexual orientation or gender ideology, and misogyny. Also noting the rise in such motivated violence. Israel's ambassador to the UN, Gilad Erdan, told the Assembly on Tuesday, "We welcome the GCTS's acknowledgement of the upswing in hate speech and terrorist attacks targeting religious and ethnic communities, which included an explicit condemnation of anti-Semitism. It is critical that the international community take a clear stance against these attacks and develop additional tools to combat such appalling assaults against Jewish and other groups."
Terrorism is terrorism is terrorism and can never and should never be explained away, justified or excused, no matter what.
Israel's delegation in Surfside, Florida, extended its stay. Israel's Defense Minister Benny Gantz said on Tuesday that the Home Front Command delegation to Miami will remain in the disaster area for another week until the mission is completed. Following requests from Jewish organizations and updates, Gantz noted, I received about the effectiveness of the delegation in the field. He said, we will reach out to any country in need and especially to our American and diaspora Jews. It was announced yesterday evening by local Miami-Dade County authorities that the search and rescue mission at the site in Surfside will now transition to a recovery mission. And a moment of silence and of prayer was held at the site yesterday evening, with the IDF members, of course, taking part alongside rescue workers from across the country. Taking a look now at our programming for tonight on JBS for Thursday, July the 8th at 7 o'clock. It's Talmud Study. At 8, Yeshiva University's Jeffrey Gurock talks about the Jews of Harlem. At 9, Mark Golub sits down with Jake Ehrenreich on L'chaim. At 10, it's the 2019 Brooklyn Jewish Hall of Fame. And coming up next, it's Israel in Style. And that's the JBS News Update for Thursday, July the 8th, 2021. I'm Teisha Bader. Stay healthy, stay well.